listeners, and welcome to Teachers Have Issues. Yes, I am your host, Lana, the educator. If you're a first-time listener on this channel, welcome. Here we explore the latest educational trends, tackle pressing issues facing the education sector, conduct insightful interviews with people making a difference, and share stories of triumph and innovation from classrooms across the globe. If you're interested in all of this, then like and subscribe. Today on Teachers Have Issues, yes, I welcome my guest, Nigel Fedee, an educator whose journey through the worlds of graphic design, business administration, and education exemplifies dedication and excellence. For the past 17 years, Mr. Fedee has been a dedicated teacher at Current Secondary School, where he has made significant contributions as a business and visual arts teacher, year head for Form 1 students, Dean of Discipline, and Art Club leader. With a passion for continuous learning and growth, Mr. Fedee will tell us a bit more about his teaching philosophy, but please join me in welcoming our guest, a true advocate for excellence in education and a future aspiring principal who continues to inspire and lead in challenging environments. Welcome to the podcast, Nigel Fedee.
Wow. Hi, Lana. Thank you again. That intro sounds awesome.
Good,
I need to
good.
record this and put it on my page or something like that. I like
Put
that.
it in
That sounds really
LinkedIn.
cool. Yeah, that
I'll
sounds
do it
really
for
cool.
you. That's actually a good idea. It's a
Yes,
unique
yes.
way to do it. All right. So can you tell us a bit about your teaching philosophy? You do so much as a passionate teacher. What would you say is your
Mhm.
teaching philosophy?
Okay, first of all, I think my teaching philosophy evolved as I mature and get older. But right now it is one where I allow students to, it's more student-centered. So I give information, the students themselves go and do the research, and we do feedback. And I'm not when I was a bit younger, I give them all the information, but because of what's going on now and everybody have access to the internet, they have their devices, their phones, the students themselves share information with me and I share with them, and then we kind of learn together, basically. So that's basically my philosophy when it comes to the classroom, that I don't know all the information. My students themselves are very smart. I'm more of a facilitator rather than a lecturer telling them and teaching them, giving them information.
Very good. And tell us about your school.
Okay, so I have been teaching at the Current Secondary School
In
St. Lucia. Yeah, sorry,
Right.
I assume. Yeah. So in St. Lucia,
Right.
for the past September coming will be like 19 years.
Wow.
So I have been teaching. I've been teaching there. We have 5 forms, Form 1 to Form 5, and the age ranges from, I think, 11 to 12 to all the way to 18 to 19. It depends upon when the students enter. We do CSEC, and we do a variety of subjects from technical drawing, business. We do food and nutrition. We do obviously the maths and English and the sciences. So we do a variety of subjects for the students at institution, basically. We have vice principal, principal. We have 5 year heads. We have deans of discipline. Yeah, basically like an ordinary
secondary school structure.
Yeah, correct.
Well, what's it like? I mean, you may not have taught elsewhere. Have you taught elsewhere besides St. Lucia?
I think I taught at a primary school for 2 terms, but this was after I left community college. One of my lecturers who saw the gift that I had, I didn't see it myself. That's why I really love teachers. She said that, Nigel, do you know you could be a teacher? And I was like, well, okay, try it out. After college, you get an internship, but rather than me going to some business, he sent me to a primary school. And the teacher at the time, or the principal at the time, I came in, she sent me to a grade 4 class and told me, go ahead, go and teach. And I was like, don't you know don't want to ask me if I can teach? She said, no, let's go and teach. And I stood in front of the class, engaged them in discussion, and I think about an hour after, the bell rang to end the school day because I came like around after lunch. And she said, "Good job." I was like, "Miss, but I didn't see you outside looking at me." She said, "No, I was listening to you in intercom above your head. You didn't know it was there, but I think you can be an awesome teacher." I like, okay, like, okay. So that's how it started. From that, and then for that, so 2 terms. But the thing about it is, I wasn't paid for the 2 terms, and I was willing. Yeah, I wasn't paid, and she was very, very kind to me. That's Miss Louie, and she gave me lunch money and also transportation money to come and to go from the school.
Wow.
Because she saw something in me. Yeah, she was really cool. And then after the 2nd term, one of my friends through networking told me, "Hey, Nigel, there's a vacancy at the current secondary school. Go and check out the principal." And then that was it. That's how I started.
You guys call it grade in your primary school? You use grades and we use standards here? Okay.
Yeah, we use grade.
So
it was standard, but now it's grade.
Now it's grade. What is your area, your content area? Because you're moving from primary to secondary school. Is it that when you're in teachers training college or university that you specialize in a particular area? How does it work there in St. Lucia?
Okay, so the system in St. Lucia is, how I'll put it, unique. Because at community college, I did business. And I didn't go to teachers college as yet.
Okay.
So hence there is an internship. And from there, when I went to the principal, I told him I just finished my associate degree in business. But I also did visual arts at a secondary school, high school level. And I'm very passionate about sports. So in the interview with him, he asked me a few pointed questions in terms of my engagement, what I like doing, what I taught. In primary school, you teach everything.
Yes.
But in high school, you teach a particular subject. So he said, okay, since you have this associated degree background, you will teach a mix of both business subjects and also visual arts, and let's see what happens. And the thing that he told me was, you have a graphic design background. So if this doesn't work out, you can always go back to your graphic designing. Yes. So he gave me a way out. So I'm really grateful for him. That's Mr. Willard Andrew. He took a chance with me. He saw something in me that I didn't see myself 19 years ago. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, so it's so important. You had like 2 really good mentors, 2 really good people looking up you at the beginning of your career. It's so important to have people like that and to seek that in your good old school type of teaching. So tell us about that journey into education, how you transitioned from being a teacher into your role as dean.
Okay. So the thing that I think makes me different from most teachers is my passion for what I do. If I love something, I will put my all in it. I will spend late hours and I will just get into it. Some time back, before I became a teacher, I was speaking to a colleague, and he was a teacher for like 6 years. And when he spoke about teaching, he didn't like it. He said the students don't learn. He don't know why he became a teacher, and this is something that he wish he would change, and he don't like it. And I'm like, okay. Rather than it discourage me, encourage me, like maybe I can make a difference. Maybe I can do something different that he hasn't tried. Now he right now is a very successful lawyer. So he left the teaching profession. He's a lawyer, and I commend him for that. He saw that teaching was his thing, and he left and became a successful lawyer. Me, after hearing him saying that you're not sure why he got into it, said, okay, cool, I don't mind taking on that project to see if I can make a difference, being a teacher. So I pursue it. And in terms of my process, in St. Lucia, you are allowed to teach without the qualification of a teacher. I think what happens is they give you to go into the classroom to try it out to see if you like it, and if the principal recommends that you should be a teacher, then you are given the leeway to go to teachers college to qualify yourself and then come back to the school and then you are appointed as a teacher. This system in itself, I have my, I don't like it as much because it affects the students. If the person who is doing the teaching don't like it and just doing it for the money, it'll affect the students in the long run, because then you're just doing this thing, you don't have no training, and then you're like, after 3 years, I don't want to do this teaching thing, and you leave. However, the students you taught still have the effect that you left on them. So either way, if you like it, then the students benefit. If you don't like it, the students suffer. So the students are always the one who suffer at the end, who basically are affected at the end. So me, got into teaching with the passion of wanting to make a change and a difference. I excelled. Not immediately. I was one of those teachers who came late, who was not professional, and in getting mentors at the school, I remember 2 of them, Miss Flavian and Miss Eugene. These are the 2 older teachers at the school when they came in. And the first thing they told me, Nigel, when you're a teacher, you're a male teacher. Make certain, I will never forget that, make certain you never allow yourself to be in the room by yourself with a female student. Always have.
You're in a co-ed school. You're in a co-ed
correct,
school.
Co-ed, yeah, correct. So that's the first advice they gave me.
Because I was planning to ask you about the male experience being in a secondary school, but it's good that you're touching on it here. Go ahead.
Yeah. So then they told me, keep all the doors open, windows open, and have one student at a time in the classroom, especially when it comes to female. Now, after they spoke to me, I didn't understand why, but I listened, because I listened. They're probably my grandmom's age, so I listened to them. They're very seasoned teachers. Years later, I understood that the principal came into the school 2 years prior to eradicate a group of male teachers who were interfering with female students. So he got rid of these guys and then basically built up the school from there. But I didn't know it was an issue until later, speaking to him, and he told me about stuff. So I saw, when I got there, the teachers who started with me, who I met there, were not there because of issues that they were having with the female students and stuff like that. Wow. So as the years go by, I became a bit more responsible because I was paired up with seasoned teachers, and they basically mentored me.
Right.
Even if I didn't know that that's what they were doing, they were mentoring me in terms of the register. When it comes to discipline, I think it's something I had that from way back. I actually started teaching from church. Okay. I was a Sunday school teacher, and I had a thing for, if I'm speaking, please allow me to speak, and I disciplined the entire class, whether it's Sunday school,
and control,
even if your father is a pastor or a deacon in the church. Listen, this is my classroom, you need to listen. And then the classroom management continued from there. So I always had that aspect of it. When it comes to the passion of it now, I was the first to arrive at school and also the last to leave. I stayed on the court playing basketball with the boys, football. I put myself in every single aspect of the school life rather than just the teaching aspect of it. And I got the respect of a lot of the teachers and also students. To date, I still have students who still pass me. So, and they're almost like, as I'm saying, they are older families. And people are watching me in the supermarket, like, they calling you sir. To me, they're looking older than you. Yeah. And that's because of the respect that I got from not just teaching the content, but being someone who listens to understanding students. And in a co-ed school, a male teacher is very rare. Very rare. So, and I wanted to be one of those male teachers where I could actually be an example to the boys in the school. A lot of them don't have any male figures in their life. So me being a male in a school, I could not lose a basketball game for sure. I could not. In every race, I need to win because they're always competing.
Right, you can't live that down.
No. And apart from that is how I speak to my colleagues and how I speak to the students in the class, how fair I am. So a lot of them did not have no male figure in their life, apart from the male teachers they see in the school, and I didn't take that for granted.
Yeah.
So that made me change the way I carry myself in terms of the way I dress, how I show up for class, how I speak to them in the classroom. And I evolved to become who I am today.
So tell me how that evolution led to you pursuing these leadership roles, because you mentioned two, where you're Dean of Discipline and Year Head.
Yeah.
So how did that natural evolution come about there?
For a couple of reasons. For one, the principal realized that there was a need for males in higher levels, and there were much males who were there who were serious to take on that position. And that was one of the reasons. There was a need for it. The second thing is a lot of the boys tend to respond. They respond better to a male teacher than a female teacher. So, for example, I will walk into a classroom
and the response is more positive towards the males, or open towards the males.
Yeah, but not for all. Not for all. Not for all teachers. Some female teachers, they could be as 5 foot tall, and they demand the respect in the classroom. But I noticed for a male teacher, the boys respond different in terms of they will listen, and the things that they will try in a female teacher's class, they won't. So in becoming dean now, it was one where, okay, I set a standard from Form 1. You come to my classroom, there's some things you don't do. I had my 3Ds: dishonesty, disrespect, and disobedience. I start out of my class with this, and it basically played out. You get to Form 2, you know what my rules are. Form 3, and I continue. I'm consistent. And the principal, seeing this in me, said, cool. Mr. Fedee looks as though he could be somebody who is respected by the boys. So let me put him, start off with Form 1 Dean to see how it plays out. And then I went up to Form 2, because when you started as a Form 1 Dean, you go up with your level until graduation. Yeah. So it was a very interesting process. I was also the house captain for my house. And when I got there, because, okay, listen, I'm very competitive. I'm very competitive. Losing is not my vibe. I don't lose well. So when I got to the school, principal asked me, oh, so which house would you like to be in? So I told him, which is the winning house, which is blue. I said, which is the losing house? I said, normally the yellow house is normally the losing house. Like, give me the yellow house. I don't want to, like, for me, I like a challenge. I don't want to be jumping, a winning thing. That's, you guys always winning. So from 18 years ago until 19 years now, I have been the teacher who competes with the winning house, which is blue. And then listen, when we start to say we won once in 19 years, we came first once, and we're still pursuing.
But I think a lot of teachers out there, even people in their workplaces with their own sports group, can identify with that, the competitiveness that comes with sports and the feeling behind it as well. But so you said you taught art, or you still teach art?
Yes, I do.
Also, I want to talk a bit about that aspect of it. How do you encourage students to see art as more than a subject?
My teacher at high school, his name is Guy Marco, and he gave me some advice. I don't remember everything, but certain things says. And he said, Nigel, if you're going to select a profession or do something, select something that you love doing and you never work a day in your life. I'm like, all right, cool. So me teaching art is not a job. I love doing it. I love teaching it. So couple of things I do is, one, I go out to the classroom. I bring students to, we have different art galleries. I bring them to different secondary schools to meet art students in their level. And any assignment I give them, I pretend that they're working for a graphic design company and give them real world problems. So they'll design a logo for a new company. They will design a sign for an existing company. And I'll ask them to, as they come up to school, just observe the different things, signs and fonts you've seen along the way, and see how you can change it. So in doing so, it puts them in a sense where I'm not just doing art because of this subject. I'm doing it because I want to be a designer. I also bring in specialists. So I bring in tattoo specialists, even makeup artists.
Wow.
I also bring in graphic designers to speak to the students, to let them understand, okay, if you want to go down this field, these are the things that you need to do. And it's to see them light up when they see, okay, cool, this is the subject I chose, and now this is who I can become.
Yeah.
I have few students who became graphic designers, animators, tattoo artists, and I use them, like I said, to actually come back to the school to speak to students.
Excellent.
So I try to make the art as real as possible and not something that they just do and close the sketchpad and then come back when the subject is due the following week or something.
Have you ever used art or that kind of creative thinking to address disciplinary issues or improve your student engagement? Just trying to tie it in here to your leadership role, and then art as a living thing for you. Have you ever used that to address any disciplinary issues or in your responsibilities as dean?
Okay, so to be open, in 19 years, no student ever stood up to me and raised their voice in my class until last term.
Wow.
Last term, I think he was frustrated because his sketch wasn't coming out how it's supposed to be. But what I do is, even from the onset, me selecting them for the classroom is not one where it's passed down by the principal or vice principal. I give them an assignment. You have 7 days to get it done, and you bring it on the Monday morning. So I set a precedence for my class that time is important, and also just doing something now for now is also important. So when it comes to discipline, it is the thing that changes me. So I told them I can be very nice, I will change the Hulk. So I have frank discussions with them in terms of in the art room, because I have like the maximum is like 12 students. And we can have basically open discussions. I allow them to speak. At first, they're intimidated by me because of how I portray myself in school in terms of the dean of discipline. But when they get to the art room and they set the door closed, I tell them that they have the privilege of coming with the headphones, and once I give you an assignment, you get it done, but make certain one, dishonesty, disobedience, and disrespect. You respect everybody in the classroom. If I ask you a question, I expect the truth. And disobedience, if I give you an assignment, I expect you to get it done, no excuses. I do not expect excuses from any student. So in setting that level of responsibility for the students, they in turn respect it. And once you have the respect of students, it's not more where they fear you, but they want to make certain that they do something which pleases you. Because I never tell my students that this is bad, this is the wrong thing you're doing, I don't like it, it's wrong. I like, based on my facial expression, they can tell, okay, I need to do this again. Or I'll give them more information, okay, go do more research. So it's not just one thing. As a teacher, apart from your content, is your body language, is how you speak to them. They see how you react to other teachers when you're upset. Like, they look at every single thing as a teacher.
They do.
So I am more open with my art students and the students in my class and the entire school. So they get to know me after 5 years. So not vexed. So is vexed today. So not having a good day. And some will come and put their hand around and give me a hug. I say, what do you want? Nothing, so I just got to check on you. But the level of respect starts off from Form 1, where you set a standard for your students and you have to be consistent.
Excellent. So what strategies do you use to maintain a positive school culture and address behavioral challenges? Because your dean of discipline, they're teenagers, they're not going to behave all the time, 100% of the time, 7 days a week. So what strategies do you use to maintain that positive school culture and address any behavioral issues that may come up?
Okay, so boys and girls, they are different. Well, it's obvious. But in terms of speaking to them when it comes to discipline, surprisingly, boys need you to listen to them. Like, a teacher will report a boy or 2 boys to me, And I would not deal with it immediately. I allow them to vent and relax and sit in the art room for a little bit, because everybody comes to the art room. So they will sit and wait. And then I'll give each boy, a time to speak and to tell me what happened from his point of view. Now, the other boy who's listening cannot speak, should not speak, and should not disrupt the first boy who's speaking. And then when he finishes, the other one speaks. And then from what I heard, what they tell me, I decide on what is needed, whether it's an apology, whether they need to do, I need to call in the parents to deal with it more, or whether I need to defer the matter to the principal. When it comes to girls, I find they are very emotional. So in terms of the same way, the same thing when it comes to them in terms of listening, but some of their, the things I have to deal with, I cannot have both of them in the same space at the same time.
Right.
So I may have to send one to the office and speak to one, and then send to the other one and speak to that one, and then deal with the issue that is at the time. For some girls, I just need to raise my voice a little higher, like, and then everybody they become quiet. But the boys, they don't respond to that.
No.
They don't respond to that.
Yeah.
They respond to, okay, so he's speaking, so let me allow me to speak and to say what's my point, type of thing. They listen, they respond to that rather than raising the voice and shouting. So in dealing with this for so many years, I build a rapport with the students, so then they will listen to me when they're being sent by a teacher. And they'll give me their part of the story. And then the teacher will, if there is an issue with the teacher, I will allow the teacher also to let me know what happens. And in front of the student, the students cannot speak in terms of allow the teacher to say. And then I will ask the teacher, Miss, can I ask him to say what the issue is? And then the student will speak. And then I will basically, if there's an issue that I need to speak to the teacher about, I will not do it in front of the teacher. But I will basically let the student know that, okay, you have a right to say what's the issue or what's on your mind. Because a lot of the boys go through a lot of stuff and they don't say anything. That's when they close down and it becomes worse. Once they shut down, they don't speak, it gets worse. So that's how I deal with that disciplinary issue in terms of boys and girls at the school. And also when it comes to Form 1s and to Form 5, it's completely different. Because Form 1s, you have the little issues of shouting and pulling hair and picking, and the Form 5s now, it's more dealing with gangs and drugs and violence, a bit more violent.
Which brings me to the question I'm asking you. Can you share, because you're speaking to challenges there, can you tell me about some of the challenges you have as, you know, in your role as a leadership role in your school? What are some of the challenges you have unique maybe to St. Lucia?
We started off I think the last 2 years in terms of searching by the gate. Now in St. Lucia, we don't have, how to put it, security in our schools, which the principal has been speaking on. We need security. We need somebody to be at the gate, not the caretakers, but security at every school. And that has not been something that the ministry has addressed as yet. So what the principal did, he assigned the male teachers to start searching the boys, because gang violence is starting to increase. And in searching, every time we search, we get a knife or a blade and a scissors, which the boys carry on themselves or in their bag, and a lot of them say it's for protection. So one of the scenarios I encountered was in searching a boy. He tried to hide it in his belt and it fell through his pants onto the pavement while he's searching, and he's looking at me and I'm looking at him and he looked at the knife. So, you can go to the office, pick it up and then bring it to the office. We also took it upon ourselves as a male in the school to buy a metal detector. We take our own money, bought a metal detector so they wouldn't have to touch the students, and just pass the metal detector and to see if they have any weapons on them. So the gang violence is increasing, and it starts off in the secondary schools. So it started by something simple, whether it's a basketball game, they got too upset, and then that continues to where one bring their uncle or the cousin, and then it just goes downhill from there. So in order to curb it, we try to at least sporadically do random searching in the morning, especially on the days like a Friday. We know Friday everybody goes to town and everybody mingling. We search before you come into the school, and thank God we have not gotten any incidents of students walking with firearms, but just knives, scissors, and machetes. Basically, that's basically what they have. What they also try to do is because the school is fenced, they will pass at the back of the school and drop items. They call it basing it, drop items in the school. But because teachers are all around the school, we don't just sit in one staff room. They're not sure who is seeing. So teachers will see a boy dropping a bag and then get the bag, send the student to the office type of thing.
Okay. What measures, besides the vector and the searching, are there any programs that you're doing otherwise to combat this kind of behavior and mentality in your schools?
Yes. So I'm excited about this initiative that I'm working on. One of my colleagues, Angel Caglin, she started this innovation labs where we could try different then action research. That's
action research, okay.
So I did an action research where my thing was, why was most of the boys or some of the boys are angry because they didn't have breakfast. So one of the things I decided to try was, why not start a breakfast program in the morning where anyone who comes to the school early because the bell rings at 8, between 7:30 to 8, you can get free breakfast, as in something hot and bread and something to eat. And they say a hungry man is an angry man. So tackle that issue where if the boys are hungry from home, they can come, get something to eat, and then that level of anger that they have during the day probably will subside.
There's something you can look at here in Trinidad and Tobago as well, because they have the school feeding program, which is basically what you're describing. They call it box lunch. So they offer breakfast and lunch actually to students here, especially for students in rural areas, students who, same thing, parents might not be able to provide both breakfast and lunch. Some of them may not be able to get breakfast the time of morning that they are leaving to make their way to school, or the funds to do that. So it has been quite a very good initiative in that even during vacation periods, where like right now the ministry has a vacation revision program going on, and they're still providing breakfast and lunch to students. So even though you guys are doing your own sort of action research and like pilot project with this, it's going on in Trinidad and Tobago. So maybe you can see, and it's been going on for a long while, what worked, what didn't work, and the mode and the outline of what that particular project looked like there, because it's been one of the more successful projects. And same I think impetus that you have an angry man, a hungry man is an angry man, and you cannot learn if your basic needs have not been met. You don't have shelter, you don't have food, you don't have clothing. Those things have not been met. And food being, a hungry child in the class, you can't concentrate when Miss Osa is doing anything. So I do believe that your project is going to be quite successful based on what we are seeing here, and it's quite admirable that you guys have engaged in it. But did you ask, I know it's a societal issue with what's going on in schools, and just this, what do you call it, weapons making their way in schools, violence making their way in schools. But have you guys asked the students in terms of, what would you like us to do for you to kind of keep you in hand and keep you in the schools?
That's a very good approach to it, asking the students themselves. But in my observation of students, they do not answer honestly. because they don't trust you, and
Right.
they think, okay, why am I answering these questions? I don't want to be here. But if they trust you, now if you're somebody who is giving them breakfast and giving them something to eat, they quicker will respond honestly to any question you ask them, because then they think they probably owe you, because Sir is really cool, I can be frank with him. So one of the reasons for doing the breakfast program is basically, as a male teacher, to show them that, hey, I can do that. As a man, you can also make breakfast for yourself. You don't have to wait for your mother to do it. And two, I can be there to speak to you when you're eating something, and then I can ask you a question. You feel safe enough to tell me what are some of the issues that you're going through. So I try to get more male teachers involved in it, just to show the boys that it don't have to be a woman thing where you're being nurturing. You can be a man and still be a nurturer, where you offer the entire school something to eat. And I think that's a way of attacking the issue of asking the students what are some of the things we can do. The program has been running for about a year now. September coming will be the new full year cycle of it. But I want to pitch the idea to other secondary schools.
Well, if it's been running a year and it hasn't fallen off, then it's turning out to be a successful pilot project that, sounds like it's viable in other schools and primary schools, if you begin the idea in primary schools as well. Do you have stakeholders involved in this?
Yeah, so that's the next thing. There's a lunch program offered by the ministry. They do a lunch program.
Right, okay.
And let me give them some credit for that.
Right.
But the lunch program, it's looked down by students. Now, the art room is at the back of the school.
Yeah.
So no one sees you coming to the art room for breakfast. So you can just grab your stuff and move. I do takeaway cups. So if the program has to be run, it has to be run by a teacher who is passionate about it and who don't want to be publicized and say, all right, I'm doing this for the entire school, please come and no. The students want to know, okay, you're genuine, you're doing it because you really care, and I will come and eat something.
Yeah, it is, what you brought up, it carries a stigma, I think, even in other countries where it's done, because for some reason they see free lunch as those only for poor students or those who can't afford, when that's not the reality. Anyway, the lunches are nutritious, and it's an opportunity for you to, as you very rightly said, have breakfast. And what you are saying makes a lot of sense, because I do believe our program started with lunch like yours, and then they realized, well, there was a need for breakfast because there's a big gap between when they come in at school and when lunch period starts. They go through so many classes till then. So it's admirable. I hear you mentioning the boys, but what about the girls? A co-ed school.
Now the thing about it is, girls come. They do come for the breakfast. They do come, and the girls are not shy when it comes to coming. They will come and take a breakfast. They come with their friends in the groups and sit down on a table, and they'll have their discussions. But the boys, they will come and watch. The first day, I noticed a couple of them. They'll come and watch the first day and see who's there, and then they won't. You want no, so I good. The second day, they'll come and taste. They'll come inside now and say, okay, what you serving? So, all right, so you have juice. All right, cool. All right, not today, tomorrow. And then they'll feel the way before they come in and ask something. Another surprising thing in actually starting this was funding. The principal was behind it, but saying it to the entire staff, I did not understand, because I'm a bit naive when it comes to a teacher. In my opinion, a teacher is more than just the content you teach. You're a teacher for life in terms of how you carry yourself out of the school, in school, around school. Why would some teachers not see the importance of giving students breakfast?
You encountered that hiccup, that some people didn't have buy-in for that?
No, the support for it.
Okay.
And it troubled me a bit, but for me, when I'm doing something, I don't look to see who's behind me. I'm going to do it because I see the importance of it. But it troubled me that some of the people who I would think, hey, this is an awesome idea, would just jump on it and then let's run, let's do this. So the support sometimes is not always there. I have not approach any major sponsor. So but for the entire year, it has been parents who have been supported in terms of donating stuff, parents, getting parents involved,
Right.
and more parents involvement have been the persons who've been supporting this. And I think one teacher in particular, and we have a staff of 55.
Right.
You have our 1-2 teachers who now and then bring something, but I didn't understand it. That initiative like this, why wouldn't you support something like that? Type of thing. So
I mean, you would get that in every, I think, profession, in every group, where there's the naysayers, the people who don't buy in, the people who resist change. I think it's a common thing that you will see as you move up in leadership, in your leadership.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's making me apprehensive, that as I go up, I probably become numb to certain things. I don't want to ever become that way.
But then you could remember this interview and remember you saying,
yes, yes,
a year ago, 5 years ago, this is who I aspired to.
Correct.
Leading me into, you are looking to becoming a principal. What inspired you to take that step to move to that aspect of pursuing a career as a principal?
Boredom. I was bored. I've been teaching for so long. Taught, and okay, cool. I became year head. Then
I don't think it's boredom. I think you've outgrown your role, your various roles, so therefore you've evolving into something else. The next logical step would be to move into leadership now.
That sounds better. But in my mind, okay, cool, I need to do something, because I was at the point where I was going to leave to do something because I've done so much already. So my nephew came in. I said, okay, cool, I'll do another 5 years, and then after he leaves, then I'll go. But the year he graduated, I was my nephew's year head. Did the graduation, say, all right, cool about it. And then COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, and observed my principal and what the different things he implemented and tried, I'm like, I think I want to be a principal. Mr. Andrew, he's doing an awesome job, but I know he will not be there forever. So I wonder who we're going to take on the mantle. And then I'm looking around, I'm not seeing anybody else who can take it. I'm like, okay, I think I can try that. I can try that. So that's where it started. Just when COVID hit, where we were sending students home. If one student got COVID, the entire school went home, and then they changed to different things, and how the principal handled it. I'm like, okay, cool, that's good. I think I can become somebody who can take on what he has done so far for the school in terms of bringing it where it is right now. So that was the
impetus for that.
To start in that, yeah, correct.
Yeah. So the podcast is called, the segment that you are on is called Teachers Have Issues, yes. So how would you answer that question? What issues or issue do you think teachers have?
Many. So I won't talk so much, but I'll do the first one. One of the studies I did was burnout.
Right.
There's a saying, the persons who care the most burn out the fastest. From my research, I saw that. So the teachers who came in with a passion for the students and making a change are the ones who burn out faster, or the fastest. But I'm asking myself, why aren't you burn out, Nigel? You care so much and you do so much, why aren't you burn out? And I think teaching is more than just a profession. It's my calling. I had to be a teacher. So me burning out is not another issue. Not another issue. So the burnout is one of them, where teachers don't make time for themselves. So they don't exercise, they don't take time to reflect, and at the end, they start to blame students for all the issues, why they're not passing, why they're causing so much trouble in the classroom, and they become so negative. And in a environment where teachers are burnt out, they're so critical of every single thing, the principal, the policies, the students, it's raining too much, and then that is transferred to the students when you go into a classroom. When the teacher can say, hey, so miss, what's wrong with you? You had a bad day today. And for the entire week, from Monday to Friday, your face is sour, except at 2:30, when the bell rings on a Friday, you start to smile. One of the things I said to myself, the day I wake up on a Monday and I said, I don't want to go to that stupid school and try and trouble me too much, is the day I have to quit. That's when I am burnt out. So burnout is one of them. A lack, I know I've been saying it earlier in our discussion, is a lack of male teachers in the school system.
Mm-hmm.
Women are doing an awesome job. I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
otherwise. They're doing an awesome job, but they need a balance to see how to be a man. And it's difficult for a woman to teach a boy how to be a man. And if they don't have that at home, and in society, the only thing that they have is a drug dealer or a gang, and the only thing they will have now is a teacher. And imagine in a school of 55 teachers, you have only 8 or 7. You need more males coming into the system. And then there's one of the discussion we had as the male group in the school, the principal, before the term ended. Why aren't men coming into the system? And one of the things is men don't see it as a profession where you can make enough money to provide for your family. That's one. And another one was interesting enough. At a barbershop, I was discussing with my barber and another guy. And some men said they cannot teach because of Form 5 girls. In their mind, they don't know how male teachers do it, because they see these same girls at parties. Now, the thing is, when you start off with a value system of I'm the teacher, you could never cross that line. But for some men, they don't have that self-control.
I love that you use value system. It speaks to character and your mindset when you come in. Because the same can be said, but if all the female teachers who have been doing it for years, it has to do with your value system and your character. So
it changed me from seeing, okay, get as much men into the system into get as much men of character. Because it's one thing in getting them in, but they have no character, then they make it worse for everybody else in the school type of
And then you will have the problem that you started with when you said you came to the school. So it becomes a cycle of what's going on there.
Correct. So right now, I don't have the answer to that question. How do we get more males seeing teaching as a viable profession?
I think it's a worldwide. It's not only here in the Caribbean that we're having that particular issue with males in teaching as well. So maybe I can tell the listeners, sometimes many teachers don't teach the one subject, the core subject, but you have very, I think, competing from east to west as far as night and day subject areas that you teach. So tell us about those 2 subject areas and how that ended up happening.
Okay, so for art, not obviously, art is my passion. I love art. And I have been drawing and from the age of probably 9, 10. My other subject is accounting. That's the other part of my brain. I love accounting because everything you do in accounting, you get an end result. So I'm both a creative mindset and also an analytical mindset in one. So they could tell you the discussions I have in my head. So with accounting, I understood why I did not do so well in high school. So I now understand how to teach it. So in high school, accounting was one of the topics, like, oh, why am I getting it? Why am I getting it? Everybody get it. So as I go up the levels from college to university, I understand. I analyze it like, okay, this is why I didn't get it. This is the principle why I didn't get it. And then and now as a teacher, I can actually pinpoint the reasons why students don't get it and then help them in that situation when it comes to the accounting aspect of it. But in terms of that aspect, I love when it comes to balancing that everything must come down to an answer. That's the analytical part of my mind. And the creative aspect of it is the art aspect of it, where you can creative color, designs, but I think one thing that has in common is structure. I have structure in my art. I'm not the messy artist. Hence the reason I kind of gravitate to graphic design, because it's structure and lettering and fonts and neat, and with the accounting.
First, I should ask: is art compulsory from one? Is it the typical thing 1, 2, 3? You do it compulsory, and then you choose it 4, 5?
Correct. Okay, so art is compulsory, but the students don't choose it. In terms of, I get a list of 15 or 20 students who think they can draw, who want to do art, but I give them an assignment.
Yes, as you said from before,
Correct.
Which makes sense, right? I mean, you may do it compulsory from 1 to 3, but there are still skills and aptitudes.
Correct.
You would want to have, if you're going into a skill-based type of art. So what about those who may not be initially interested in art? How can you help them at that lower level discover their creative potential? What is it you do to help them develop that passion in art, besides being passionate about it yourself, which is a big plus for it?
So because we have a structure, so term 1, we have end of term exam, and term 2 is continuous assessments. So term 1, I teach basically the theory of art, and term 2 is the practical art, where they do t-shirt designing, they do tie-dye, they do bleaching, so more hands-on aspect of art. So I teach them different aspects of it, and which is really where the students are exposed to different parts of it. So that basically attracts their attention. So those students who are not good with the theory are good with the practical, and vice versa, basically. But in terms of the skill, the students who are very gifted will always be gifted. If you can draw, you can draw. If you cannot draw, I cannot teach you to draw, but I don't tell them that.
Yeah. So what role do you think art plays, or do you think art plays a role in the overall development of their student? What role, if any, does art play in overall development? That beyond that artistic skills?
I think that just like a human being, every artist is unique to a society. You have something to give or to share, your perspective of seeing something. So in my art class, apart from the art itself, I ask my students to question everything. So for instance, if I have to ask you a question, what's the color of the sky outside without the clouds? You say blue. But what if I tell you it's not blue, it's orange? And so like, so how you mean it's orange, it's blue? I say, can you prove that it's blue? So these are some of the discussions they have, like, wait a minute, yes, I can prove, but everybody can see, but what if I tell you it's orange? And then they have a big discussion going on in the class. So now, because you see it a certain way and I don't see it how you see it, who is correct? So that aspect of discussion we have in the classroom. So I'll give a topic, one where it's simple, like red. I want you to design something or paint something red, but do not use the color red. So then that opens their mind, like, wow, how do I paint red? So I would wonder about, okay, when you think of red, what does red mean in different countries? What comes to mind when you think of the color red? So I want you to express yourself, and then in everybody expressing themselves, I put out all their work on the table and said, you see, every single person have this one topic, but you can produce something completely different. So that means what you say about something is important. So you need to speak up in certain times when you think I shouldn't say something, or I need to express myself in certain ways when you think that your viewpoint doesn't make any sense, because it's needed. So even as an artist, it goes deeper than just being able to draw and paint. It's being able to set an example, be a different person, and appreciate the fact that you are a piece of a puzzle, and then you don't have to be like everyone else. So that's how I approach it.
Yeah. So art, I mean, most people, even I, when I think of art, I mean, most people would think painting and drawing, but that's very narrow in scope. Now there's art and we're using technology, and there's AI. Has technology influenced your teaching methods and the way students create art?
Yeah, it has. In terms of when I was in school, one of the big things about art is research. Something that I learned, that there's nothing new under the sun. Every single design that you see comes from something. Nothing is created that is new. You either take a color from it, something else, you take a shape, you take a layout, a concept, something you take. So an artist is basically like a thief. So you will steal something from a different artist and put together and create something completely different as an artist. But in terms of technology,
because you have AI and all of that now competing, right? So
one of the things that we use is for research. So the students come to their class, definitely need to research, and it's easier now for them to go on Google and research. Now, some of them try to trick me. Well, you go on Canva or you go to some program and then you ask them to design something for you and you bring it to us. No, so not taking that. I want to see your base sketch. I want to see your idea behind it. So you can use these generated programs to design, but use it as a reference, but not as your final piece. Don't do that type of thing. So
which is bringing up the issue of ethics, right? Ethics and
yeah. So with them, and that's why how I select my students. There is no easy way of learning art. You need to practice. You need to practice, and the more you practice, the better you get at it. So you can use the AI and the technology to get reference and resources, but at the end of the day, you still have to sit and produce something that is unique to you. So when you go online, you don't see that image that you just produced to me, you won't see it anywhere online.
Excellent. So you talked about, I think you said you had an art club, your art club leader. Yeah. And you talked about selecting specifically the students to come into your art program in the upper school 4-5. Is your art club open to anybody, or is it only open to those students who already do art then?
Okay, so the students who select art, they're in the club. You don't have
anyway by default.
Yeah, by default.
So but then the club,
the students who like to do medicine, and art clashes with them, but they can draw and they want to express that aspect of their life. Art club will give them the avenue to come into the art club now once a week. No, well, we do it once a month, and to just express themselves and to basically learn something new when it comes to art. So it's open to everyone.
Right.
There's no restrictions. But it's one where they can relax. So we would do a general project, and then we will open it to having music in the room. We have food.
Very creative environment.
Correct. So you get it's called a free up. You get to free up, and there is no restrictions. I am just like a member. I'm not the leader. I'm just a member. And then they call me Sir, Mr. Fedee School, and I'm in my vibe, doing my vibe too. Everybody else doing their vibe.
Very democratic and relaxed.
Correct.
Club. So are you involved? Have you done any community projects or exhibitions that your students have been involved in? Can you tell us about any of those?
The last thing we did was a mural for the Ministry of Communication and Works. They asked us to do a road cross, the safety crossing sign mural in one of the bus stops. And my Form 5 class who left, they're the ones who completed that. We also did a collaboration with the primary school. So the primary school and the secondary school did this awesome mural, and every time I pass, I'm smiling because it looks so neat and it looks really good. So when people pass it, they're like, yeah, cool. And instead of making students sign their names, I make them put their handprint. So they put their hand in paint and they stuck it at the edge so you can see, cool. That's my handprint. From years to come now, they will pass and tell their friends, hey, I was one of them.
And I was part of that, not just one, but part of a project, because it's more than the end result. Part of it is the process of doing it and that collaboration. And that's excellent because it now extends into the community and to show the value that you can do. I was just adding a little question here. A lot of focus is on STEM, science and technology and engineering and math, and a lot of programs have been defunded, not given enough allocation in the academic day. Programs obviously like art, drama, music, and dance. Has that been your experience, and what would you speak to that happening?
I think the principal, as in the principal of the school, he has the last say. And my principal, he comes from a theater arts background, so he's all about the arts. So I think if the head of the school sees the importance of arts, drama, and music, then it would not suffer like any lack of funding. So at Corinth, we have both theater arts, we have music, dance, and drama, and visual arts. So you have most of the arts at the current secondary school because of the principal. You see the importance of having somebody on the head who sees the importance of it. It will fuel a lot of the different programs. But if you have someone who doesn't see the importance of the arts, it will suffer.
Good point. But you do a lot. So what advice would you say for educators about balancing their passions, like you have done with art, and their demands for not just their job, but those pursuing leadership responsibilities? What advice would you give for people, especially in education, to balance your passion and trying to move through leadership roles?
Okay, so the first thing is don't lie to yourself in terms of when you're going to pursue something. I love art, but what I love more than art is seeing the next generation of students come out much better than the previous. So I think that's another reason why I want to get into admin, where I can be a principal, where a teacher. I want to help with it. I want to create a school environment where teachers want to come to school and then build that fire in them, and then they'll transfer it to the students, and then students want to come to the class. So that's my basic idea. So to balance it is, don't lie to yourself, and whatever you do, put your all in it. At the same time, setting time aside for reflection. So it is something I do every single day. I reflect every day on the answers I gave to someone, or what I did, could have changed something about it. And also, I also put time for exercise, and also time for chilling. Just literally do nothing but play game and relax. Because a human being is, like this Muslim friend of mine taught me, you're made up like a pie, and every part of your life is a piece of the pie. And you should not neglect any aspect of it, because then if you do, you will not be the best person that you are destined to be. So for me, I divide my life myself in so many parts, but every part I'm passionate about, but still make time to replenish and to rest, and get a massage, or to travel, to do stuff that I love to do and that will fuel my passion when I get back.
Excellent balance there, and a lovely way to end the podcast. So we want to thank Mr. Nigel Fedee joining us all the way from St. Lucia. I want to say to my listeners, you empower minds and you ignite curiosity. Thank you, Mr. Nigel Fedee.
Thank you for having me on your awesome podcast.